What's happening, Bills Mafia? Good morning. It is game day, week 10. The Buffalo Bills. We playing host to the Arizona Cardinals. Hosting, maybe not hosting. They're heading to Arizona. I don't know why I said hosting. There I go, botching the introduction of the show. The Bills are not at home. They are going to Arizona. But let's just say Bills Mafia will be loud, yelling at their TV sets, cheering on the Buffalo Bills for this game. Week 10, the Buffalo Bills taking on the Arizona Cardinals. I want to start off by letting everybody know that the Thomas Take Sports Podcast is available on all podcasting platforms. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Over the last 2-3 months, the show has put together the highest ratings that I've ever seen in the 5 years that I've been doing this show. That's how excited the Bills Mafia is for this 7-2, hopefully 8-2 record that Buffalo will hopefully get to by 7 o'clock tonight, as the Bills game today is on at 4:05, being that they're on the West Coast taking on the Arizona Cardinals. I've noticed, Apple Podcasts has been big. Spotify has been big. The audio side of things overall has been fantastic. But obviously streaming the show like I have been on Facebook and YouTube, I remind you all to subscribe on YouTube and like the Thomas Take Sports Podcast on Facebook. You'll get instant access to anytime I go live, anytime I'm on here, whether it's posting a Bills video or covering any of the other sports that I cover on the show, combat sports, UFC, boxing last night, a lot to discuss in that regard. I'll get to that a little bit later. This is the Bills pregame show, though. I'm going to give you my 3 keys to victory, but first, we're going to preview the game, and then at the end of the show, I will get to some of your questions that you guys have for me on the show. I truly feel that has been awesome as well, getting to answer some of your questions on the show, answering any questions that you guys have in regards to our beloved Buffalo Bills. It has been a fantastic start to the season. Obviously, weeks past, we looked at Josh Allen's stats and we said, hey, something needs to change here. We're heading in the wrong direction. But look no further than last week as Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills played a spectacular game against the Seattle Seahawks. And for me, I will go back to that last week and just, touch on it here briefly. That was the best performance I've seen from Josh Allen all season long. And I feel that really I'd love to see the Bills add on to that. I would love to see the Bills continue that progress offensively, but in particular defensively, I thought Buffalo looked fantastic. And we're going to dive into that. I'm going to get as many folks on here as possible, sharing this show on all of the Bills Mafia Facebook pages and YouTube pages and, you name it, putting it out there to the entire Bills Mafia fan base, giving the Bills Mafia the content that they deserve with their ability to chime in as well. So I have to remind you guys that this has been obviously a really rough year for virtually all of us. I think in our own way, the 2020 season has been somewhat of a saving grace for some of us, given that this year has just been such a crap year. But over the last few days, I have seen something take place that I am so proud of, just extremely proud of, in terms of Bills Mafia. Bills Mafia deserves a round of applause for the donations, the sum of money that was put together for Oshai Children's Hospital, a hospital that does great work, taking great care of kids that really need our help. And any way that we can pitch in and help this hospital, providing this hospital with better opportunity to build resources to help these kids get better. I saw over the last week or so, $200,000 donated, $300,000 donated, $483,000 has been collected towards Oshai Children's Hospital, and it was paid basically in tribute to Josh Allen's grandmother who passed last week. Josh Allen played superbly in tribute to his grandmother last week. That was something that trickled in as we saw on Twitter and Facebook that Josh Allen was playing through something that is extremely difficult. We've all been there. We've all dealt with loss in our own way. For Josh Allen to play through that loss and to play as well as he did, and then for the Bills Mafia to pay it forward by donating to Oshai Children's Hospital was truly amazing. It makes me so proud to be from Buffalo. It makes me so proud to cheer on this team, and makes me so proud to be a small part of this area. I'm just one guy, where all of us somewhat banded together here, rallied around our quarterback, and contributed to a really great cause. So thank you to Bills Mafia. You guys, you all deserve a round of applause for that. That made national news, and rightfully so. I thought it was a great story, and it's going to continue to be a great story. So the Buffalo Bills 7-2, taking on the Arizona Cardinals this week at 5-3. This, to me, I love to bill these games, bill the Bills games. What would be on the marquee if this was at a theater? What would the title of this game be? What would be the title that would really get me amped up for this game? The dual threat duel. That's how I see this game. That is what makes this game so exciting for me as a football fan in general. Take my Bills fandom out of it. Take my Bills fandom completely out of it. I'm looking at this game as the dual threat duel between Josh Allen and Kyler Murray. Josh Allen versus Kyler Murray. Obviously, this is a team sport, but to me, this is one of the best quarterback duels that I have seen leading up to a game in quite some time. Josh Allen is getting hot. Kyler Murray, in terms of the numbers that he has put up this season, you look at Lamar Jackson's MVP season last year, Kyler Murray, just as good, if not better, in terms of the numbers that Kyler Murray has been able to put up in comparison to Lamar Jackson's MVP season last year. So essentially, for the second week in a row, the Buffalo Bills defense faces an MVP caliber quarterback, an MVP caliber player in Kyler Murray. I'll dive into the stats that Murray has provided us in the 2020 season momentarily, but the dual threat duel, Josh Allen versus Kyler Murray, both of these guys are so versatile. Both of these guys are extremely durable quarterbacks in terms of what they bring to the table. They fight for every yard. They fight for their team. They are natural-born leaders, and that's what I think makes this game extremely exciting, so exciting to tune into. 4:05 Eastern Time on the East Coast, 1:05 on the West Coast, and not even taking my Bills fandom into it. When I look at the full slate of games that we have at this Week 10 NFL schedule, I think this is the game of the week. I think this is the matchup that everybody should be tuning into, because these are the two most electrifying quarterbacks that this game, I think, has to offer outside of Mahomes, outside of Jackson. Josh Allen and Kyler Murray, to me, take the cake. And you look at the numbers of both quarterbacks, they've both put up extremely impressive numbers throughout this season. Josh Allen, a 68.9% completion percentage, 314.2 total yards per game passing, 24 total touchdowns. Then you go to Kyler Murray's statistics, and Kyler Murray in his own right, 68.1 completion percentage, 334 yards, total yards per game, and 24 total touchdowns. Both of these guys are extremely capable of carrying an offense, but both of these guys can do it on the feet or via the air. And what makes it so interesting is one is 6'5", 240. The other is 5'11", 210 pounds. Physically, they could not be any more different, and yet their gameplay is extremely similar. So I am very much looking forward to seeing that on the TV screen today, seeing how different but similar both Kyler Murray and Josh Allen are. Obviously, Allen is known for his cannon of an arm. Kyler Murray, though, can sling it in his own right. And, I think outside of the fact that we bill this game as the dual threat duel, I look at this game and I say there is more to this game than just Josh Allen and Kyler Murray. Far more to it. There is Trey White versus Deandre Hopkins. Deandre Hopkins, I guess I could say it is easy to argue who the best receiver in the National Football League is during the 2020, season. This is a passing league, so there are far more opportunities for receivers nowadays than there were even in the Jerry Rice days. There are more receivers getting the wide target shares that they are getting. Michael Thomas led the National Football League last season with over 140 catches on like 180 targets last season. So when I put together a ranking of receivers and who I like and who I, think are, some of the best, DeAndre Hopkins makes that list just based on his ability to catch the ball really from any radius. His catch radius, if the ball is high, he can catch it. If it's low, he can go down and get it. If it's to the left, to the right. DeAndre Hopkins has been one of the best receivers in this league for the last 4, 5, 6 seasons. And Trey White has been one of the best corners in this league since he was drafted a few years back. So looking at that matchup, to me, comparing both DeAndre Hopkins and Stephon Diggs will definitely do that. DeAndre Hopkins has 76 targets, 60 receptions, 734 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 39 catches, first downs. He is a chain mover. He is that guy that Kyler Murray has been able to rely on. And I will say, what a gift trade it was for the Arizona Cardinals to acquire DeAndre Hopkins. It's got to be one of the worst trades in recent memory. This receiver is so damn good. The fact that the Houston Texans traded DeAndre Hopkins for 2nd, 4th, and David Johnson, whereas Arizona didn't even give up a first-round pick for this guy. It blows my mind. It still blows my mind that this trade even happened. Blows my mind that DeAndre Hopkins was even moved. I know there was a contract thing that happened between Hopkins and the Texans, but rather than boring the audience with that, here we are. Hopkins is a member of the Arizona Cardinals. I think he has been a key factor as to why Kyler Murray's numbers are so high. 334 yards, total yards per game, 24 total touchdowns, and both Allen and Murray have completion percentage numbers close to 70%. Trey White, on the other hand, last week he was tested with DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf and DeAndre Hopkins back-to-back is just another day at the office for Trey White. He has been lining up against the best of the best since day one. Since week 1 of his rookie year, he was lining up against the best of the best. So this is just business as usual for Trey White. No Josh Norman in today's game. He tested positive for COVID. So Levi Wallace, obviously kind of on the fringe within the inactive-active report. We don't have that just yet. But this Bills secondary is going to be tested. This Arizona Cardinals offense has plenty of weapons on it as well. Outside of DeAndre Hopkins, you have Christian Kirk, Edmonds, the running back, Kenyon Drake, he's on the fringe. Is he going to be at 100%? Even if he is active, will he get the snap count that he normally does? Only time will tell. But this offense, you have a lot of weapons on this Arizona Cardinals offense. Andy Isabella is a solid receiver as well in terms of the speed dimension that he brings to the table. So if this Bills defense really wants to make an impact again like they did against Seattle, this offense is tough as well, just like Seattle's. So the next matchup I'm keeping my eye on is Stephon Diggs versus Patrick Peterson, along with Trey White. Patrick Peterson is one of the best corners in this league as well. But along with DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, another receiver that was traded from the Minnesota Vikings to the Buffalo Bills, he has been everything and anything you would want from a wide receiver one. He has been fantastic. I have loved every single bit of watching Stephon Diggs line up for the Buffalo Bills with that number 14 jersey. He has been a rock-steady contributor to the Buffalo Bills, and in terms of fantasy football purposes, I am smiling ear to ear that I drafted Stephon Diggs in a vast majority of my fantasy football leagues. Diving into Stephon Diggs' numbers, 91 targets, 63 receptions, 813 yards, 3 touchdowns, 35 receptions for first downs. So both of these guys have been extremely important in terms of the statistics that both of their quarterbacks have put up this season. Hopkins has been pivotal for Kyler Murray, and Stephon Diggs has been essential for the development of Josh Allen and vice versa. This offense has been fascinating to watch for the Buffalo Bills, and the offense for the Arizona Cardinals has been red hot. When I looked at this offense and found this key statistic, the Cardinals are the second team since the 1970 merger to average 28-plus points per game, 250-plus yards passing per game, and 150 plus rushing yards per game. The last team to do that was the 1998 San Francisco 49ers. We know the offensive freight trains that the 49ers had in the 80s and going on into the 90s between Joe Montana and Steve Young, two Pro Football Hall of Famers. So let's get to some of the comments. Let's see what we got here. We need our run game to be strong today. I feel like the Cardinals will take last week's tape and sell out to stop the pass, maybe. And obviously fundraising news for the Oshai Children's Hospital. The fundraiser is at $604,019. I was hoping to hit $500,000 by kickoff. Bills Mafia didn't disappoint. That is just truly an incredible story. I mean, I can't get enough of that. I hope it gets up to $1 million. That would be amazing. You know, every little bit counts and every little bit matters to these kids that greatly need our help. And anyone that is willing to make a donation, you can find it online. There is a lot of online links associated with Oshai Children's Hospital. I can't post those on the stream or on the podcast currently, but I will. So let's get to the keys to victory for the Buffalo Bills in this game. In particular, you know, it's very easy to say this. It's easier said than done to say this, but I want more of last week on defense. I want to see more of what we saw last week. And in terms of more of what we saw last week, in particular, the specifics of it, I want to see Kyler Murray be forced to throw from the pocket. I want to see Kyler Murray be forced to throw from within his first read. I talked about that last week with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's one of those quarterbacks. He is far more dangerous on the run outside the pocket than he is inside the pocket. Forcing Russell Wilson to make his first read is not Russell Wilson's game. Russell Wilson likes to extend plays. He likes to move around. He is more comfortable doing that. And I don't want to say Russell Wilson is inaccurate from the pocket, and I sure as heck don't want to say Kyler Murray is inaccurate from the pocket, but being that both of those guys are more comfortable throwing outside of the pocket, I think if Buffalo could force Kyler Murray to throw early from within the pocket, inside the tackle box, I think that is where Buffalo is best suited to do some damage and force some turnovers. If you allow Kyler Murray to get outside the pocket, and I said this last week about Russell Wilson, if you allow any of those two quarterbacks, you know, Russell Wilson or any quarterback really that can move, which there are a lot of them in this league, if you force Russell Wilson out of the pocket, if you force Kyler Murray out of the pocket, you are in trouble. The game is over before it starts, because if you can allow those guys to move out of the pocket, they can then move the chains and eat you alive. Whereas Kyler Murray from inside the pocket, Miami got to him early and often last week. So much so that former Buffalo Bills Shaq Lawson was able to recover a fumble and take it back for a touchdown. Now, obviously, I'd like to see the Buffalo Bills do something close to that. Whether they do that, you know, remains to be seen, obviously. But I want to see this Buffalo Bills defense bring the heat on Kyler Murray. I want to see the Buffalo Bills defense pressure Kyler Murray the same way that they did with Russell Wilson. I thought the defensive line was able to get a nice push, but in particular, the linebacker blitzes. A.J. Klein had a great game last week. I'd love to see him carry on that momentum heading into this week. It was easily his best game as a Buffalo Bill. And really, Tremaine Edmonds looked pretty healthy last week. I think he's been battling injuries that we don't even really know about, that haven't really been, told to us. You know, I think we'll hear more as the season wears on. Maybe at season's end, we'll find out that Edmonds had, far more nicks and bruises than what we even thought. But the defense last week, it was their best week, and the Bills are almost benefiting from this schedule. And what I mean by that is they're playing two quarterbacks in Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray that are extremely similar. Both guys are smaller, agile quarterbacks that can move in and out of the pocket, can extend plays with their feet. I think that the game plan has to be similar, and that is a game plan that the Cardinals, no doubt about it, are preparing for, but it's a game plan that worked so well this past week as the Bills beat the Seattle Seahawks, and I'd like to see that carry on for this matchup. I want to get to another comment from Matt Proskeen. He says, absolutely bring the pressure and don't back off. I think they have to do that early and often in this game. Set the tone early. I love saying set the tone. I say that every week, but set the tone in that regard. Set the tone in the regard of getting to Kyler Murray early, tongue twister, and really get in his face, force him to make decisions early, and force him to get hit a little bit, whether you're sacking him or just touching him. Just get to him, get in his face, get to him early. So my next key to victory is a very interesting one in Zack Moss and Devin Singletary. Now, I have been kind of critical of this Bills offense in terms of their inability to set up the run. Really, virtually all season long, the Buffalo Bills have had struggles setting up the run and establishing the run. And now that Zack Moss is healthy, Devin Singletary is always a key factor in these games, and is always a player that I have greatly admired and respected in his couple seasons here in Buffalo. I think he is a far better running back than what we have seen, and I think his skill set has been underutilized in this offense really since day one. Zack Moss, on the other hand, I can't say the same thing because Zack Moss was hurt. He was banged up. He wasn't 100%. So I want to see the Bills really establish the run game. Last week they didn't do that. Really, they didn't have to do that, and they were able to come away with a win because the Seattle Seahawks secondary was so poor. Whereas the Cardinals secondary with Patrick Peterson, Budda Baker might be out, but the Cardinals secondary is a little bit better. I would say they are schematically better in terms of moving around the field and putting together solid coverage schemes. Really, what I want to see is Zack Moss in particular. Zack Moss, in terms of fantasy football, he has 10-plus points in the last 3 games, and Arizona has allowed a top 20 fantasy running back effort in 2 of their last 3 games. Now, that's fantasy football talk here, and that's not reality, but the reality is that the Arizona Cardinals' run defense has been a little soft these last few weeks, which has translated to solid fantasy football performances. And I think that we have to really run between the tackles early. We have to extend our drives and provide less of an opportunity to give the ball back to the Arizona Cardinals offense. The Arizona Cardinals offense can get things done quickly. They can. But if the Buffalo Bills extend their drives, win the time of possession battle, and kind of slow things down a little bit in moments of this game, I think you will have less of an opportunity for the Cardinals to get that 33 points that the Seattle Seahawks got last week. The Bills won that game soundly, but there were moments where Seattle was creeping back into things a little bit. If Buffalo slowed things down and extended those drives, I think they would be better for it. And I think the Arizona Cardinals run defense is a defense that you could do that against. So my last and final key to victory is none other than John Brown. John Brown, to me, is the secret weapon for this Buffalo Bills offense. I think he is pivotal to Josh Allen's success. Part of the reason why we saw Josh Allen's touchdown numbers, his interception numbers go up, touchdown numbers go down, yards per game go down. I truly believe that the most impactful receiver on this team is actually not Stephon Diggs. It is John Brown. When John Brown is just simply out on the field for the Buffalo Bills, it opens up this offense in a whole new way. The threat of John Brown being able to stretch the field vertically is an essential piece of this offense. And when he's out there, I truly feel that Josh Allen is at his most comfortable peaceful state of mind. Josh Allen and John Brown hooked up early and often during John Brown's first training camp. The chemistry there was instant. And when you have all 3 of those guys out there, Diggs, Beasley, and obviously Brown, you see Josh Allen reap the reward of that. You see a comfortable state of mind from your quarterback in Josh Allen. And I think John Brown is a secret weapon for this game in particular. Obviously, coverage-wise, Patrick Peterson might not be locked on Stephon Diggs the entire game. Peterson might move around a little bit. But John Brown, to me, is a guy that you can move around in a wide variety of ways. You can stretch him out. You can put him in the slot. You can have him underneath. Any which way, John Brown is a player that you can use. And I want to see John Brown have a day today. I think John Brown can have a day today, have a return to form. Last week he had a big catch and run. He was tripped up, could have been easily a touchdown had he not tripped on that, kind of scamper down the center of the field, down the center seam of the field. You saw the speed there. Smoke. They don't call him that for no reason. That guy is a fast speed demon at the wide receiver position. So John Brown, to me, I want to see him get utilized in this game in a wide variety of ways, and I think we will see that. So last comment here, Michael Gervais, he says, this is the week I would love to see Ed Oliver make some noise. It's time for his breakout game. What do you think, Ryan? He's definitely trending upwards. I agree with you, Michael, and shout out to Michael paying me some great compliments on Twitter, put me in the mention of Sal Capaccio and Ron Rico of Buffalo Fanatics. I greatly appreciate, you tuning into the show, Michael, and giving me props on the show. I greatly appreciate your love and support. Wanted to throw that out there back to you on the air. So I do think the defense is trending upward as a whole. I think that this defense is far better than the way they played, previous 4 weeks to the Seattle game. I think that this defense has the ability to be one of the better defenses in the NFL, and especially one of the better defenses in the AFC as a whole. They said, meaning the experts, said that this schedule was a terrible one for the Buffalo Bills. Here we are, 7-2. I'm looking at the schedule now. I'm looking at the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm saying, I like that. I'm looking at the San Diego, LA Chargers. Justin Herbert can ball. He's pretty damn good. I'm looking at the rest of the schedule, and I'm saying the time is now. The time is now for this Buffalo Bills defense to show who they are, understand their identity, and put together an elite effort throughout the next 6-7 weeks. That's what they're capable of. That's what they've shown under Sean McDermott, and I think Sean McDermott lit a fire under their ass. I really do. I think that Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott came together and said, we need a better effort out of this defense. We need more, and we need to come up with a game plan that puts our defense in a better position. We have somewhat failed our defense in a few ways these last few weeks. Let's put these guys in the right spot. Let's put these guys in the right position. And I'm seeing all these guys in my fantasy league. I turn on the air, when you guys are listening to this, watching it though, I get notifications anytime any of the guys in my fantasy league make moves, and man, they are in trouble with some of these moves they're making. My God, I'm 8-1. I'm sitting pretty. So Matt Pruskeen says, John Brown show, your old team, you're a gamer, the laughs on you cards. Yeah, that's a great point too, Matt. The fact that John Brown is playing against his old team, the Arizona Cardinals. Why'd they let me go? Well, you shouldn't have let me go. Let's make you pay for it. John Brown, let's see if he makes him pay for it. Andre Roberts says, what's up, Thomas Tate? What's up, Andre? Thanks for tuning in. As always, a pleasure. But yeah, I think this is going to be a great game. I have a score prediction. I think this game will be a close game. I think you have two really electrifying talents at the quarterback position. I said that at the start of the show. That's what makes this dual threat duel a thing for me. This is the dual threat duel between Josh Allen and Kyler Murray. And shout out to Kyler Murray, man. I mean, this guy is really good. He is far better than what I thought he would be. And when I go back to that draft a couple years back, I knew that the Cardinals were going to take Kyler Murray. I was not shocked at all. I honestly thought that it was a very peculiar. Is that the right word? Am I saying that right? So, I thought that was I thought that was a weird choice. I guess you could say. I thought that was a strange choice for the Cardinals to make, just based on the fact that Kyler Murray's small. He's a small guy. I was worried that he was going to get hurt. I was worried that we would see a guy like him just get crunched inside the pocket. But he has been able to avoid injury. He's played extremely smart. I think that is something that is not talked about enough between, some of these scrambling quarterbacks, is that they do have to run smart. They have to get down. They have to slide. And a guy that can slide is Kyler Murray. And the reason why is that he was a baseball player. And I think he would have been in the major leagues. It was another part of why I thought, Kyler Murray, should you be playing football? Should you be playing for the Oakland A's instead? Guys, look up Kyler Murray in terms of his baseball highlights. You will see a guy that could have made the major leagues. You would see a guy that if he wanted to be the next Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders type player playing both football and baseball at the same time, he could get away with it. Whether, stale, vanilla, boring Roger Goodell would let him is another story. So my score prediction, I commented on the YouTube feed. My score prediction for the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, Bills Week 10 game against the Arizona Cardinals. I get the Bills winning 30-27, and I think this is going to be a back-and-forth game. I think that Tyler Bass is going to win it for us. In Arizona, you're in a closed-off dome stadium. No pressure of weather, working against you. I think that the score prediction, is fair. I think it's valid. And I think that it will, to me, I was really hard on Tyler Bass when he was missing those field goals the first few weeks of the season. I don't know how you couldn't be, given that the kicker position is so important to any NFL team. But since that New York Jets game where Tyler Bass was 6 for 8, he's looked fantastic. So outside of that 61-yarder, but are we really going to gripe over that? I would hope not. I mean, that's, the fact they even attempted that is one thing entirely. So that's how I see it going down. 30-27, the Bills will move to 8-2. As always, I'm Ryan Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ryan Thomas on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I truly feel that this is going to be a great game. This is the game of the week. This is a game that I think every Bills fan should be excited for. Every NFL fan should look at this as the game of the week as well. I appreciate all the comments, all the views, all the support from Bills Mafia. This has been a fun few months, obviously, during the football season. There is a lot to discuss as, the season wears on. Obviously, we got a lot of football left. If the Bills get to 8-2 prior to the bye, it'll be fantastic. I'm really hoping that happens today. I'm hoping for a solid Bills win, 30-27. I think it will be a close one. I will give the Arizona Cardinals the credit and the recognition that they deserve. 5-3, but they're a fun team to watch. Take care, everybody. Stay tuned for the Buffalo Bills post-game show. As far as the future goes, you guys know I do these shows on Sunday mornings, and then Sunday nights I do the post-game show reacting to, what I liked about the Bills' effort, what I didn't like. I'm hoping that I get to talk about what I like again. Keep that theme running. I don't want to talk about what I don't like. I hate doing the post-game shows when the Bills lose in epic, terrible fashion. I don't want to see that. I don't want to do that anymore. Felt like I was ranting and raving a little bit, but I just love this team, and I know that they can be really great. We got a lot of good years ahead of us in the future, Bills Mafia. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Ryan Thomas saying, so long, Bills Mafia. Take care.